welcome back to the class, everyone. Last Friday night, CG informed us that they were looking into a scoring bug having to do with the banners in GAC. Well, several days since then have passed, and the bug doesn't seem to have gone anywhere, but we have learned, probably, how to avoid it. So first off, I will say thank you to SoloBase15, who tipped me off to these two things that seem to be causing the banner shortage, and that I was able to test in my GAC that I just finished. That is, by the way, the reason why this is being released at like 10, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at night, because I don't really feel like having this wait until the early morning when there are probably a lot of GACs that are going to be going on between then and now, and quite frankly, I don't even know if this is going to be fixed by next Friday or Sunday or whenever. So if the bug does still exist when you're watching this video, do take note of these two things. So the first thing that I want to talk about that seems to be causing the bug has to do with GLs. More specifically, GLs that change form when they go into their ultimate mode. So the main three that I want to talk about right now are going to be Sith Eternal Emperor, Jedi Master Luke, as well as Ahsoka Tano. I am also looking for the Galactic Legend button. There it is. I do not know if this applies to Lord Vader and JMK because they don't really transform into a different character when they ult. But for those first three that I mentioned, the problem seems to be that when you use them and you do your ultimate ability and the battle finishes, the game does some type of internal check, looking to make sure a character that was at the very beginning was there at the end, and it's considering them different characters and actually removing the banners that you should be getting. So what does a practical example of this look like? Here's a screenshot, we're going to be seeing a lot of these, of me right before I take C in to take out this Queen Amidala team here. And I lost to it with Great Mothers for reasons that we don't really need to go into right now. But at any rate, you can see that I have a grand total of 183 banners in the, or up at the top. Now, when we fast forward a little bit here to my eventual victory, yay, with C, getting a grand total of 44 banners. We'll add that to the total for 227. And then we will look at the final score of 464. Now, that 464 might not seem that problematic because you're probably thinking, Calvin, you dum-dum, you got also 240 banners from taking the zone, which that is also true. The issue is, grand total 467, but when we actually come in here, I get a score of 464, despite the fact that I won, and I'm being shorted 3 banners. So again, going back to what I was getting at previously, it looks like when we're taking in certain GLs that can transform in their ult to what is essentially a different character or what is being registered as a different character in the game, it is not proccing the banners that I should have gotten for surviving, having full health, and having full protection, which would add up to the 3 banner discrepancy we are seeing here. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be worth it in some fights for you, like me, in that battle where you're like, hey, I want to save my 3 banners, so I'm not going to use my ultimate. In the case of Sith Eternal in that exact battle, the 3 banner hit with the bug was probably worth it. I was probably not killing Queen Amidala and the rest of her team without getting to my ultimate ability and zapping them so that they could be gone. That being said, if you are in a battle later today, or maybe Friday if this isn't fixed by then, and you're using JML, you're towards the very end of the battle, and you're like, hey, I will use the ultimate because that sounds fun and I like the animation, maybe you shouldn't be doing that because again, JML will be registering as a different character, at least with the bug, and you will end up being out 3 banners. So again, part of the point of this video was to show how to avoid these type of things, but at the same time, it might not be worth it, so do take that with a grain of salt. Now, this does not appear to be the only cause for losing banners in GAC with this bug. The other one seems to be revolving around fleets, and I did both, again, test this with SoloBase had told me, and tested it without, to see how it would compare overall. I had to take down these 3 fleets. I used a Leviathan Mirror, I used Galactic Republic versus Executor, and then I used Profundity versus Radis. The Executor and Radis battles went as normal. I got the exact amount of banners I should have. But the Leviathan match, not so much. So here's what happened. This screenshot here shows that I had 1,346 banners prior to entering in fleets. You can kind of see that there mostly clearly. So we'll add that into the calculator. Then, when I'm preparing to go into the battle, I have my 3 initial starting ships, as well as 3 ships in reinforcement. Pretty typical for this type of battle. I want Scimitar in there just in case they go first. Then I have to pull mine in so that I can get ahead. And then I finished the battle with 72. What ended up happening was my fleet went first anyways, so I called in Scimitar, called in MK6, won. It's a fairly easy battle, especially when it goes your way. What didn't happen, though, is I didn't call in Sith Assassin as my 3rd reinforcement because I didn't need her. In fact, I had 5 full ships there, so I actually couldn't bring her in. So the score that it's showing on the board is what I should have gotten, because you can see in the unused slots, it's given me a total of 4 banners, and it's saying that I had 6 surviving units, meaning I had the 5 surviving units that are currently fielded, as well as the 1 that is in the bank. And then again, it says I'm supposed to be getting full protection as well as full health banners for that unit that is in there. The problem is, when we load in that 72 into our banners here, and we fast forward really quickly into the next screen, I'm short. I am short by 3 banners. I have 1415, whereas as you can see on the calculator, adding the scores that we just saw together, I'm supposed to have 1418. So what it looks like is happening is when it gets to the end of the battle, and whatever check goes on in the game to look for banners, it's not finding Sith Assassin on the field, because it's not there, and it's assuming that it was destroyed. So again, the 3 banners I'm being shorted here looks to be a combination of the fact that the ship survived, the ship had full health, and the ship had full protection, which again was being calculated correctly into the 72. The problem is that 72 really was never passed on to me. Instead, I was getting a 69, which despite the number that it is, was not so nice, because now in the overall battle, I'm actually short by 6 banners. I might not lose by that amount, but at the same time, it's a little bit frustrating that it's not working as it's supposed to. And if I had known that going into the battle, I probably just wouldn't have taken in Sith Assassin to begin with. I could have just done the 5, but I figured it would be fine because, you know, it didn't hurt to have an extra character, or an extra ship in this case, but in reality it did. So again, be careful with the decisions you make in trying to avoid the bug, because I don't want you to put yourself in a situation where you're specifically skimping out on reinforcements that you need to save 3 banners, when losing might cost you significantly more, either in a 20 banner loss or just completely not getting past the wall entirely. So again, do what you can, use this information wisely as far as how the bug works, or at least how I understand it to work in these 2 specific examples with both Galactic Legends and when they ult, as well as not using reinforcements despite having them in your fleet when you take it in. So thank you guys for watching. Tread carefully, and until the next time, stay awesome.